Have you ever been in a position whereby you are the person behind the camera, at the same time you are the one setting your light and adjusting the whole frame, and you have to jump from your camera, from being behind the camera, to adjusting your lights, adjusting the things in the frame, and you have to go back to your camera to preview what you've just adjusted. And there is no possible solution in code for this problem that you are facing. Well, I've been in your shoe before, and I've always been going forth and back, adjusting my lights, going back to my camera to see how much it changes or affects my frame. Until recently, when I got my hands on this amazing piece of gear, and these are called the Shimbol TP Mini Wireless Transmitter. At the same time, in this video, I'll be talking about the Shimbol M5 monitor. It's a 5.5-inch monitor, and like I said this year, I'll only be talking about gears if they kind of affect my workflow in a positive way. And full disclosure, Shimbol did reach out to me to try out this monitor and the transmitter, and I've personally implemented that in my workflow. And like I said earlier, having to go between setting your camera and setting your lights and your frame entirely, and having to juggle going forth and back, setting your frame, going back to your camera to see what you've done, is actually problematic, and it can look so unprofessional in front of your client. And when you are working on a bit bigger set, and you have a director and they just have to keep looking at your own camera screen just to see the image you are producing, it's kind of somehow. Prior to this time, I've always been having just one monitor on my camera, and both the director, people on set, myself, we all share that one monitor, until recently that I got my hands on these beautiful things. And the best part of it is, guess what? These things are less than £100. £100 for wireless transmitter. Well, that's a beautiful world we are in currently. And when they reach out to me, I've heard about this transmitter before, I've heard about the monitors before, and to be fair, I've used them once. I've borrowed them once for a church program, and we had this on the camera that was recording for church, and from where the camera was to the media room, it was a bit of distance. And on these beautiful things, it has been stated that this can reach up to, is it 600 feet? Well, I've not tried that, how long the transmitter can actually transmit your image, but for what I use it for in church, the last time, it was a bit long and it was able to transmit the image without any interference. And when they reached out to me, I was like, well, yes, I've used it before, and I would love to give it a try again. So like I said, I've been always jumping between my camera to my light to adjust, and coming back to the camera to see what I've done. And recently I did a documentary project, a mini documentary project, and I used this thing on that project. And one of the best feedback I got was from the person I was interviewing for the documentary, and she was amazed by how easy it is for her to see what I'm filming without having to stand up and seeing what I've recorded before, and all of those forth and back. And I just handed her over the monitor and the transmitter. So I used I have, prior to this time, I have my Holy Land Pyro 7, which is a 7-inch monitor. I love those because they are quite bigger. They are 7-inch, and this is 5.5-inch. So how I'll be using this is, if I'm filming or I'm trying to go very nimble and not too big kind of setup, I will have this on my FX6, and obviously this is bigger than the screen on the FX6, and this can get me what I need. I will see my image very clear, I can focus very clear, and yeah. So I gave her the monitor with the transmitter attached, so I was able to transmit the image from the FXE straight onto the monitor. And she was like, wow, this is really good. And she had to start taking like behind the scenes show with her phone of the monitor, and she was actually impressed. And beyond the client's perspective of this equipment, as a DP myself, I was able to set up my frame easily without having to go forth and back. I just had this on my ends, and to be sincere, for me, beyond the other spec of this transmitter and the monitor, this is actually the most important part for me. The fact that I can transmit my image straight onto the monitor without cables, without a lot of problem, without having to press anything to connect, just switching these things on and you are straight on. That is actually a good thing for me. So I won't be making this video too long, and at the same time I won't be boring you with a lot of information about this monitor and transmitter. And if you want to see a lot about this thing, if you want to know about the spec and all of that, maybe check a lot of videos on YouTube are talking about this thing, so you can definitely catch up with all of that. But I just want to talk about the application and how it has helped me in my production process, really. So the most important thing I love about this thing, call me whatever name you want to call me, is the price point. These things are cheap, like really cheap. For if I'm not mentioning it to you and you're seeing me using this on sets, you won't believe the price. So this thing costs less than £100. I think about 90 something pounds for the transmitters. Imagine transmitters for less than £100. Less than £100. That's beautiful. And the monitor costs about £160. £160 for a monitor. That is a steal price. And this monitor, I can talk all day about how good this monitor is. One of the first thing I love about it is having this quarter inch beneath and beside it. The build quality is classic. Like, this is made of, I think, aluminum or something, but I'm sure if this should drop down, I should be able to pick it again. So it's actually very good quality, including the TP minis. They are well built. I think they are made of aluminum as well. And the fact that you can actually, sorry, I'm saying all of this thing in no particular order, but I don't want to script this. I just want to show you guys how good these things are for that price, and what you actually get with that price. So you can actually plug them with a Type-C cable, which comes with the pack. So on set, I just plug this straight into my battery, which has the USB, and that goes straight into this. And I did not actually need to put a battery on, so that actually reduced the weight of my monitor and everything I'm carrying. So back to this monitor, this thing has all the monitoring options you want to talk about. You can put markers on, you can put your histogram, all of those monitoring things, and at the same time you can put slots on these things. You can apply lots. You have an SD card slot where you can use for adding your own lot on this monitor. And the package, it came in beautiful package, got loads of extra accessories that you can actually put a screen protector on this thing. Came with the box, a nice package as well, like you can be sure your monitor is safe and secure. It uses the MPF battery, and for my experience, this thing don't really suck that much battery. And you've got 3 function buttons as well. And also this monitor is touchscreen, so you don't actually have to press a particular button to make it work. Just touch. And the resolution, everything is 100% okay for me. So the only thing as I would say is not perfect with this whole set is the latency on these transmitters. And for me personally, this is my own honest opinion, I don't think they're actually bad. I think they're about 7 milliseconds or so. And I tried it, and except you are pulling focus, that's the only point where I think might be a bit slow for you. Beyond that, if you are just using this as a director kind of feed, or um, for yourself personally, I don't think these are too slow or too yeah, they are not too slow for me. I think 7 milliseconds is actually not bad for 90 something pounds. Well, if you want something very, very fast, you know how much these things actually cost. So for 90 something pounds, wireless transmitter, well built, and good latency, I think this is the one to go for. So who am I recommending this to? Well, if you are doing YouTube, if you are a filmmaker, if you are a videographer, if you are a wedding videographer, whatever role you do, if you film something and you need a monitor and you don't want to break your bank, I think this is the monitor to go for. I know there are a lot of monitors out there. Some are extremely cheap and some are extremely expensive. Like I said, I have the Pyro 7, which is a 7-inch monitor. I love those because they are 7-inch, and there are use cases for that and there are use cases for this. This is 5.5-inch. I can always swap them out for different kind of shoots. So if I'm going low, if I don't want to carry much stuff, I want to reduce my weight, I would definitely go with this. If I want to carry big stuff or I'm putting them on sticks, then I'm definitely going for my 7-inch monitor. But if you are just starting out, you don't have any monitor, you don't want to spend so much, this thing, trust me, this thing is absolutely good. For 160 pounds, you can pull a lot on, you can do almost everything you want to do with a monitor, except that it is obviously not a recorder. So you get almost everything you get from other monitor as well. So the quality, the image coming out of this thing is actually good. And back to the minis, if you do a lot of, say, interviews and you work on short films, yeah, even if you do YouTube and you want to have your monitor very close to you, you don't want it to be too far, you can use this thing to transmit your image, and you have this one receiving it, one transmitting it. And if you do a lot of short films, you have directors on set, you have people on set, you can just put one of these on your camera and the other one on the receiving end with a monitor, and you get a very good image, very, very good image out of this. And the other use case I would say, the other kind of set of people I would recommend this for are those that work in the media unit in church. Like for me personally, I've used this in church and I think we keep using this in church, and these are really good for church production. You don't need very fast kind of latency transmitter for such a production. I think 7 milliseconds will actually work very fine. We've used it before and it worked absolutely fine for us. So I think these are a very perfect fit for church production. For events as well, if you do weddings, you want a better monitor, you want something to transmit your image to show to your clients, you don't want them to keep looking at your own camera monitor, camera screen. Or if you have all this mirrorless camera like the Sony A7S III, the FX3, the Canons, the Fujis, the Lumis, all of those cameras, and they have all this small 3-inch screen, you can get the either get the monitor or get these transmitters. And yeah, you can actually get the two, because if you want to transmit the image, you obviously need something to be viewing it. So both the transmitter and the monitor won't cost you up to this is 160, this is 99 pounds, so let's say 100 pounds, 160 pounds, that's 260 pounds, less than 300. My Pyro 7, Oliland Pyro 7 cost about 500 something pounds, and that's just the monitor alone. So enough worth is enough for the wise. So if you are one of the if you're one of the wise, I think if you need a monitor or a transmitter and you're in the market for one, I highly recommend this. Not because they sent this to me, I've tried it and I've used it and it actually helped my production. So I'm recommending this to you. And speaking of recommendation, I will have a link down in the description. Please do well to use the link if you are willing to purchase, and that's an affiliate link. So if you are doing that, if you are buying through that link, you're helping this channel and you're helping me grow, and I absolutely appreciate that. And if you've enjoyed the content so far and you would love to see me again, please do well to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.